Hello and welcome to, what day is it? Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. Of course, a Christmas Eve edition of Cracking the Cryptic. And let me start by wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. I hope you've all been good this year and Santa brings you everything you've asked for. Thanks so much too to those of you who've taken the time and trouble over the last few days to send us Christmas messages. We've been pretty humbled actually to hear some of the stories about how this little old Sudoku channel has helped people to cope in 2020. We've somehow, I guess, managed to do 2 videos a day now since the 23rd of March. I think that was the day of the first lockdown here in the UK. So that's a shade over 9 months of 2 videos a day, which feels like something of an achievement. And we are going to, of course, try to keep that going tomorrow. So I'm not sure how well the video will go tomorrow, as it's possible I may be a little merry when I record mine, depending on how much wine, brandy butter, I'll have consumed at lunchtime. We shall see. And fittingly enough, today's puzzle is Christmas themed, although for the life of me, I can't work out why it's Christmas themed. Mark's recommended I try this one. It's a Quadruple Sudoku by Sed Holaysan. Sed from the Philippines, and he's actually a brilliant constructor. I really like his puzzles because they're often very clever, but they're not brutally difficult. So if you're new to the channel or you're new to Variant Sudoku and you've not tried one of these puzzles before, this is definitely going to be one I think everybody can solve, if Mark's telling me the truth. Now, yeah, we all know that that cannot be relied upon, but I'm hopeful because Sed's puzzles, as I say, are normally fairly approachable. Anything else to mention before we start? Yeah, a couple of things. If you haven't got yourself a Christmas present yet, it's always important to buy yourself a Christmas present, I think. And our new Killer Sudoku app is something I'd recommend. It's out on all platforms. It's getting great reviews. Thanks to those of you who've written reviews. We're really appreciative of that. And it's chock-a-block full of just incredible, incredible puzzles. Also, of course, if you do enjoy the content, please do consider becoming patrons of the channel on Patreon. That's just $2 a month, and you gain access to all the bonus content that we include over there, which includes extra puzzles, extra solve videos, and of course, last month's massive bonus was Stefan Bura and Akash Jain's Sudoku puzzle hunt. What's the right way of describing it? Tracking the Cryptid. It's been getting an awful lot of plaudits, and I have 2 more names for you just before Christmas who have managed to crack it. Andy Glidden and Eric Hoff. Very well done to the 2 of you. That is brilliant, brilliant solving. Now let's get on to Quadruple Sudoku. Now this is a type of Sudoku I really, really enjoy actually, but we don't get many of them sent to us. I think I did one by Bastien Vialgem many months ago, and it was a brilliant puzzle. So Bastien, if you're watching this, please make another one of those. I would love to try more of these actually. Very simple rules. What we've got is normal Sudoku rules apply, and then digits in circles. So you can see, for example, this circle has 2, 3, 5 and 7 in it. They must be found in one of the 4 cells touching the circle. So in fact, where you get 4 numbers in a circle, we actually know that those 4 squares have to contain the digits 2, 3, 5 and 7. Now normally the way these solve is that you have to be very careful about counting how many numbers appear in rows and columns. So for example, you have to bear in mind how many 3s are in column 3. Now you may know the answer to that already. I hope that you do, but typically it's combining that sort of logic that helps you get through this. Do have a go yourselves. The way to play: click the link under the video. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking with this Christmas. Why is this Christmas themed? There's nothing Christmassy about it. The dots somehow, they're not gold rings. There aren't 5 of them. I don't know why. Well, we shall see. So what I'm going to start with, I suppose, is, I don't know. Well, I've got 2 choices about how to start this. I can start pencil marking straight away. So for example, I know these squares are 2, 3, 5 and 7, or I can be slightly subtler about it and try and spot like instances like this. For example, if we look at these 4 cells, we know one of them is a 3. If I look at those 4 cells, I know one of those is a 3. Well, how many 3s are there in column 6 and column 7 together? Well, given there's 1 3 in column 6 and 1 3 in column 7, here's a knowledge bomb for you. There are 2 3s. Well, there's one of them in those 4, one of them in those 4, so there can't be 3s in any of those positions. And you can see that has a little impact, look, on this box up here. So we know the 3 cannot be here, because if it's here, there will be 3 3s in 2 columns, which will break the rules of Sudoku. So there must be a 3 in one of these 2 cells. And we know which one it is, because it's not in there. These cells are 4, 6, 8, and 9. So actually that is a way of placing a digit, look, straight away. Let's try the same with 7s. I'm not sure if this is the best way of approaching this puzzle, but it's a way. Now 7s, again, we know there are 2 7s in row 1 and row 2, and we know approximately where those 7s live. So there can't be 7s in this domino, but we know there's a 7 in one of those 4 squares, so it's got to be in one of these 2 positions. Beautiful. Here we go. Or, actually, hang on a second. Just wondering about that, actually. I was about to look at these cells and conclude something about these 7s, but I don't think I can. Maybe I can look at 7s a different way. Let's have a look at 7s in these 2 2x2s, because I can see at least that has a little bit of an effect on this 2x2 block. So again, columns 2 and 3, we know the 7s have got to be in this block and in this block. So they are not in this block. If there was a 7 here, there would be 3 7s in those 2 columns. So 7 is over there. Now that's putting the 7 in this 2x2 onto this side. Oh yeah, okay. This is okay. And now we get to know where the 7 goes. In this box, this 2x2 arrangement here, because this can't be 7, because we know there's a 7 in one of those 2. These 2 can't be 7 because we know there's a 7 in one of these 2. So this is a 7 and we get our second digit in the grid. That helps us out a bit at the bottom. We now know that the 7's in one of these 2 squares and we know which one it's in, because this one can't have a 7 in any of those cells. So let's put the 7 in down at the bottom. This cell actually is just a write-in. We could have done this right at the start. We just compare these 4 options, 3, 4, 6 and 8, with these options, and you can see there's only one digit that's in both sets, so we have to put an 8 in here. There's probably more examples of that actually. Let me just take a look around the grid. Here we go. 4. Yeah, okay, this has to be a 4 for exactly the same reason. It's the only digit that appears in those 2x2s. There may be more of these. Let's have an... no, that one's less constrained. That can be 1 or 6. 7. Right, now we've got 3, 4 here. So these squares have got to be 1 and 7 to complete this foursome. That fixes this one down here as a 6. That fixes this one as a 6, because we know there's a 6 in one of those 4 cells, and it must be here. That means there's a 6 in one of these 2 cells, and we know that because we know there's no 6 here, and because of this 6, there's no 6 there. Which, that's actually probably not useful. Okay. We can do something with 1s. We know that there's a 1 in one of these 2 cells, so there is no 1 here. So there's a 1 in one of those 2 cells, which actually doesn't seem helpful. Maybe I can do... Yeah, I can. Again, looking at 7s now, in row 5 and 6, we know there's a 7 there, we know there's a 7 there, so there can't be a third 7 here. So we can remove the 7 from this square and place a 7 there. That 7's probably not going to do much for us, is it? So let's keep looking. 6, there needs to be a 6 in one of these cells. It's got to be on the left-hand side. And is that helpful? Probably. It probably is. I just can't see why. 6 has got to be in one of those 2 cells by Sudoku. Look, that's just these 6's interacting around the grid. 6 actually, here we go. there's no 6 in that foursome, so there must be a 6 here, which fixes the 6 in this block. It means there's a 6 in one of those two cells exactly. And now we have to stare again. So again, what I'm trying to do here, I'm looking at these now. I'm noticing 8 is appearing in both foursomes. So 8 has got to be in one of these two cells, because otherwise there's going to be a third 8 in columns 8 and 9. Now, this foursome doesn't have an 8 in it, so we can place the 8. That means there's an 8 in exactly one of these two cells. Oh, this is lovely, isn't it? That 8 marries up with those 8s, and we get to place the 8 here. So again, it's the same logic over and again. We have to just count how many of a digit there can be in 2 rows or columns. There's the 8, or one of the 8s in column 4 and 5. There's the other one. So where does the 8 go in column 6? It's got to be in one of these 3 squares, and it can't be here, because that can only be 1, 3, 4, or 6. So it must be there. Oh, 8's a bit restricted over here, but I'm not sure it's restricted enough. Okay, so let's have a look for another digit. Actually, maybe I fill in... Oh, I can't fill in those yet. I can fill in these two, look. Because now I know these squares here are 6, 8, and 9, so they're 2 and 5. Not sure what I can do with that. Do the same down here though. This is 7 and 8, so this is 1 and 9. And this is 6 and 8, so this is 3 and 4. This 3, 4 is interesting, because look, there's got to be a 3 and a 4 in this triple. So that now is a 3, 4 pair. Which means this must be a 1, just to complete this quadruple. Now, there must now... look, there must be a 1 in this 1, 2, 5, 6. So it's got to go in those two squares, which means this is not a 1. That's a 9. That's a 1. These two squares are 2 and 5 to complete the box. And can we go further? I'm sure we can somehow. We just got to spot where. 3 is, look, 3 is appearing in both of those 2x2s. That places 3. Again, there can't be any more 3s in column 1 and 2. 3 must be in one of those squares. It must be in this square. That gives us the 3, 7 here. This is a 2, 5 pair. That's a 2, 5 pair. There's 2, 5 pairs all are. Yeah, look, there's a 2, 5 pair there. So this square cannot be 2 or 5 or 7. So this is 3. This must be a 2, 5 pair. Oh, this is why it's Christmas. This is why it's Christmas. It's because there are 25s everywhere. Oh, lovely. Look, 2 5s everywhere. Oh, that is a gorgeous idea. I'm going to highlight them. Every time I find a 2, 5, we're going to highlight it. Okay, let's see if we can keep going. Where do we look next? We could look at... I don't know. Where do we look next? There's got to be a 7 and an 8 in there. The 7 is in there, so there's a 7 in one of those two cells, exactly. That means there's a 7 in one of these two cells. This 7 tells us which way round it goes. That means there's a 7 in one of these two cells, but it can't be in this foursome. So again, we get the 7 there. Now there's a 7 in one of those two cells, which we definitely don't know which one of those, because we're left with these 7s here and these 7s here to be sorted out. So this is a 1, 2, 5 triple. Now, 2 of those digits are the numbers 2 and 5, which is suspicious, isn't it? Still possible that there's 2... here we go. Let's have a look at this. Now, it's not possible to put 2 and 5 in this domino. And it's not possible to put 2 and 5 in this domino because one of these is a 7. So there must be a 2 and 5 here and a 2 and 5 here. Which means there is a virtual 2-5 pair here. And there's a virtual 2-5 pair in here as well. I'm not sure that is helpful actually, it's probably overkill. Let's use the 3 and 6. We can use the 3 and 6 because we know there must be a 3 in one of these two squares. That fixes the 4, that fixes the 3. Is that helpful? That means there's a 4 in one of those two cells. And there's a 3, look, in exactly, so this is a 3-4 pair at the bottom of the grid. Now that means we're going to get this digit, because we know those are 1, 2 and 5, so this must be the other digit. That's got to be a 9. That means there's an 8-9 pair in box 8 now, and that gives us another 2 or 5 in those two squares to complete the row. We'll make that one purple. Now can we finish these 3 4s off? We probably can somehow, I'm just not spotting how to do it. We've still got to put 2 and 4 into this little foursome here. How do we finish this? I feel like we're really look, this 1 is forcing this to be a 1-7. Which means there must be a 1 and a 7 in this row. Or these 3 squares in column 5. Now as this is a 2 or a 5, we now know there must be a 4 and a 9 in these cells, just looking at box 5's geometry. Now this 4 pushes the 4 in the 2-4 into this square exactly. That finishes the 4 and the 3. There must now be a 3 in exactly this square, in fact, which means this square's a 2, this square's a 6, this is a 5. This 5 is rather... Maybe I should wait with the 2 5s and do them really late. It's tempting to... look, they're all going to unwind, though. They're all going to unwind as a result of this 5. Well, we'll hold back for a moment. This must be a 1-2 pair. Now, that's fixed by the 1 up there. So, again, we get a 1 here. I can't really avoid the fact that this is a 2, can I? Okay, and I think I'm going to have to unwind them now because they're a bit obvious. So let's unwind the Christmas 25s. That's a 5, that's a 2, that's a 5, that's a 5, that's a 2. This 2 is fixing the 5 and the 2 up there, the 5 and the 2 up there. Now there's got to be a 2, look, in one of these 3 squares, which has got to be here. There's got to be a 5 in one of these squares, which has got to be there, I think. And this triple here is 4, 5 and 9. That one can't be 4. That's fixing the 9 and the 8, which I could have done a few moments ago. It's occurred to me. And these 2 squares have got to be 4 and 8, which we know the order of. That fixes the 8, look, in this circle. This square is a right in. That's got to be a 9. That fixes the 9 over here. These squares are now known, so let's write them in. They are 1, 7 and 6, which, yeah, look, 7 and 6 there. So that's the 1. This is a 6-7 pair. This is this is a naked single because we need 1, 6, 7 to complete row 2. There's a 6, 7 in the column, so that becomes a 1. That fixes the 1 and the 7 and the 6. This square's a right in now. That's got to be a 4, I think. That fixes the 4 and the 3. It's a lovely puzzle, isn't it? It's not difficult, but it's elegant, which is what you expect from Sed. Okay, so in fact, maybe I should just pencil these in now. I need 1, 3 and 9 into these squares. So this square has to be 9, just by Sudoku, because there's a 1 and 3 in the column. This is a 1, 3 pair. That does a lot of work on this column where we still need 6 and 9, although maybe we can't finish that immediately. Oh yeah, we can. There's a 9 there, sorry. 6, 9, 6. Get rid of the 6 into this square. These two squares have got to be 8 and 4, which we can do. There's got to be an 8 in one of those two cells. Don't know which one. It's got to be a 2 in one of these two squares. That's pretty big because that joins the 7 and shunts the 8 over onto the right hand side, which means this should be a 5. That fixes that this is a 9. This square here is a 2. That square up there is a something. What is it? 8? Yeah, 8. And 5, 8 here means these are 2 and 7. We know the order. The 7 fixes the 7 and the 1. There's a 1 in one of these two squares to join the 6, and you can see that finishes the puzzle. 3 here. This should be, what is it, a 9, I think. That's an 8, that's a 6, that's a 4, that's a 5. We click check, and that's how to solve a very beautiful, elegant puzzle by Sed Holaysan with a lovely little meme in there to do with the 25th of December. Very enjoyable. I hope you enjoyed it too. Let me know in the comments. I do read them. Let me know if I should have just bashed at this by entering in all of the options. That was probably going to be a bit quicker, but I actually like finding these sort of quasi X-wing arrangements where you count digits in rows and columns and you use that logic. It sort of feels like a more, I don't know, fitting way to solve the puzzle. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a very, very merry Christmas Day and Christmas Eve evening, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.